of a competent communicator handbook with an emphasis on focus. Our speech relays the tale of a near-death encounter with a wild beast in a farm country. Happy 4th of July. Welcome.
Yeah.
Please welcome Kristie.
Last year, I found myself staring into the gleaming eyes of a wolf in the middle of the Amazon at 2 in the morning.
Wow.
I was panic-stricken. I had no idea what to do. You see, at the time, the group I was traveling with, we decided to stay with homestay families for a week. And so, we traveled to this remote community called Santa Barbara in the middle of the Amazon in Ecuador, a place so isolated that we couldn't even arrive by roads. We had to hop into canoes and take the river to get there. When we arrived, I must have looked like quite a sight to see. My homestay family looked me up and down. I was sweaty, bug-bitten, mud-ridden, and had this huge backpack in tow. But they decided to take me in anyway. They led me back to their house. It was a family of a husband, a wife, and their 5 young children. Their house looked sort of like a tree house. It was built on stilts, probably 20 feet high. It was made completely of wood. It was a 15 by 15 square foot wooden tree house. So, with my backpack on, I clambered up the ladder with the threat of my backpack keeling me over at any moment. And we spent the afternoon talking and laughing and getting to know each other. Both of us were obviously nervous. Neither of us spoke English I spoke English as a first language. They spoke Quechua. We both tried to speak through Spanish. It was awkward and fun. And we spent the afternoon swimming in the river as well. That night, we were all exhausted, so we turned in early. I pulled out my sleeping bag, rolled it out, smoothed it, and climbed right in. And I was asleep in no time. But at 2 in the morning, I awoke again with an unrelenting, all-consuming need to pee. Why did I chug a bottle of water right before going to bed? I woke up and looked around. My entire family was asleep around me, sound asleep. I didn't want to wake them up. Could I just hold it until morning? But with the sound of the rushing river nearby, I knew that was not going. So I slowly crept out of my sleeping bag and looked for my rain boots. Where were those rain boots? Nowhere to be found. I decided to forego the rain boots. That's how desperate I was. So I climbed down the ladder slowly and as quietly as I could, tiptoeing around my family who was also sleeping on the floor. I knew I'd touched the ground when my feet hit the cold, sticky mud of the Amazon forest floor. To my dismay, there are no bathrooms in the Amazon. The bathroom is the Amazon. So I slowly and stickily made my way through the forest about 30 feet back, did what had to be done, and returned. When I came back to the house, there was this basin of water near the ladder, so I could wash my feet before going back up into the house to avoid making the ladder muddy and getting the house all sticky. I began to wash my feet, scrubbing, and listen to the noises of the Amazon. It was chirping and humming and squawing and chirming, words. And suddenly, there was panting. I looked up, and there was a wolf standing at the base of the ladder, just looking at me. I had no idea what to do. I stood there and stared at it, and it stared at me. I thought, could I fight a wolf? And then I was like, no, look at me. Like, I can't fight a wolf. So I decided, I mustered up all my courage, I took a step back, I charged the wolf, leaped over it, and grabbed the ladder at the highest rung that I could. I squirreled up into the house, absolutely breathless, panicked, and my homestay dad woke up and gave me this puzzled look as he laid on the floor. I just shook my head, went into my sleeping bag, and tried to fall asleep again. knowing I was finally safe. In the morning, my homestay dad asked me what all the ruckus was about last night. And I relayed every detail, possibly exaggerating a little bit, but definitely told him the story. And he began to laugh a little, and I was somewhat insulted. I was like, how can you be laughing? I almost died. This was one of the scariest experiences of my life. At which point he came over, he patted me on the back, and he told me that that wolf with which I had nearly combated was the family dog. Thank you.
Let's send some love notes to Kristie.